A very good evening to you all. Thank you for watching UBC Television. With me, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Your news anchor for the night, Mugalu Muhammad, is on sign language. It's the 8 o'clock bulletin and it's going to be an hour's long. So do sit tight as I call my producer to bring in the headlines. In our top stories tonight, Premier Nabanja warns against PDM funds mismanagement. UPDF's hunt for the ADF rebels in the Rwenzori region intensifies. Bunyoro University task force searches for land to set up a campus. And Ugandans pray for peace and unity. All these in our news tonight. Once again, thank you for joining us and watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Now to our first story. The Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has warned against the mismanagement of parish development models, and this call was made specifically to the parish development model coordinators. Nabanja emphasizes the repayment period of funds of 2 years as recently directed by the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now this was during the homecoming of Muslims who had returned from Mecca. Details in this report.
This was in Bugweri district, at the residence of Uganda's ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, Zake Kibedi. It was a welcome back ceremony for Muslim faithful who had covered a holy journey to Mecca. To grace the event was the Chavazinga of Busoga, William Gabulana Diop IV.
Yongera okuyozayoza banaife abasiraamu abasobola okujja Mecca okumaliriza pilgrimage nekuyidinga hijja era asobola okuyira nga bafunye emikisa eva Kibumba ate nga bantu bandawulo nga n'omuli ambassador Zake Kibedi n'omuli second deputy prime minister waife Mukitiba Ahmed Nur Osman n'abandi Kamala mu bitiibwa byayimu.
Local leaders took advantage of the occasion to remind the government of unfulfilled presidential pledges. They included upgrading of Busesa to Nawangisa Road, as well as that of Busesa Health Center to the next level.
We are begging that we standardize it to Health Center 4. Over resources here, we can also upgrade it to district hospital.
This was answered in affirmative by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Robin Nabanja.
Ekisooka oyagala ku upgrading eddwaliro lyammwe tugende ku center 4 ate tulifuule hospital. Kino kituteeka bwe kiri. Then nawe ati jakusaba owandiike BHO awandiike ate nange bampeko kopi kati okwo kwe mansizi yandakire. Engalo ez'amaanyi! Kakati ebisigadde amasanyalaze gatambula. Ogwo mulimu gwa muzeeyi mukubire mu ngalo.
Nabanja, who was here on behalf of the President as chief guest, encouraged locals to embrace government programs, including the parish development model.
Buli muntu mu mwaka kaddeke temusalasalamu. Temusalamu sente ezo. Njagala kati mu mwaka 3, 2, wanyameka. Omuntu ba mwaka kaddeke alimako ate n'alundako. We call it enterprise mix. Kati nawe ne wajjawa mu bwavu.
She warned against extortion by managers of PDM, emphasizing the repayment period of 2 years.
Ate President yalagidde nti esente ezo zisasula oluvannyuma lw'emyaka 2. Omalayo oluvannyuma lw'emyaka emeka? 3. Awo omugagga tagabudde bannaayi. Abaziina mubeere nazo muzikozese ate zibakulaakulanye bale mu myaka 3. Nawe oba olina ky'oba tobadde abuludde.
The occasion was graced by the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, among other notables. Henry Okrut, UBC.
The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has urged the leadership of the Association of Secondary School Head Teachers of Uganda to mobilize their members to change the quality of schools in the country. The Minister for Education and Sports was meeting an 8-member Head Teachers Association executive led by the National Chairperson, Brother Augustine Mugabo.
You may not know how important your organization is, but it's really vital for our schools to change qualitatively. If every head teacher had such selflessness and determination to change the school and change the children, and Uganda would change in no time at all.
Meeting the 8-member ASHU executive, led by the national chairperson, Brother Augustine Mugabo, the head teacher of St. Henry's Chitovu, who called on the First Lady at State House Nakasero, the team briefed her on the achievements and challenges of this association, which brings together all secondary school head teachers, both in government and private sector across the country. Mrs. Museveni said that when she thinks of how to reach all schools in the country and how to change certain things, she is overwhelmed because of the huge numbers. She therefore appreciated the role of the Secondary School Head Teachers Association to support the ministry in reaching out and mobilizing the schools. She further added that there is need to change not just one school in a region or district, but all schools in the country, and this can be done if the head teachers change their attitudes. She added that if everyone was willing to serve our nation selflessly, then we would change this nation in a very short time, therefore urging ASHU to feed this message to the children in their schools so that they grow up knowing that this nation will only grow and become modern if all of us hold hands together to lift it up, not because of depending on partners. She informed the association that the ministry had received some funding and more textbooks will soon be provided to schools. She was also hopeful that computers will be supplied to all schools, but however cautioned the teachers to be stricter and more dedicated to protecting the children against misusing the computers, especially in this season when we are trying to fight homosexuality. Mrs. Museveni said that the ministry will depend on ASHU to make the schools look better with a good environment. She therefore urged the teachers to save some money to repaint their schools so that children learn in a clean environment.
You must realize that the children you bring up in those schools are the ones who will build Uganda tomorrow. If they are learning in filthy classrooms and in filthy schools and filthy toilets and all those things, you imagine one such child becoming the head of Kampala City Council. They won't have the skills to make Kampala better because they don't know how to make any place better. We're supposed to sharpen them and make them know how to live in a modern life wherever they are, to transform wherever they go by being in a school which transformed them, which showed them how people are supposed to live in a modern life, so that they go home and teach their parents.
In their brief presented by Brother Augustine Mugabo, the head teachers leaders appreciated the great milestones achieved under Mama Janet's leadership at the Ministry of Education and Sports. They highlighted the salary enhancement of science teachers, construction of seed schools in every sub-county, the teachers' patriotic retreat in Chankwanzi, enhancing of capitation grants, and pioneering the protection of the environment in schools through the Nehemiah Initiative. and among others. Reporting for UBC, Paguma William.
The Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Paul Semwogerere, has said lack of faith among Christians is the main cause of human killings worldwide. He emphasized the need for introspection and the adoption of righteous behavior that would please God. In a message delivered on his behalf by Archbishop Augustine Kasujja during the Uganda Matters High School Lubaga Open Day, the Archbishop Semwogerere urged individuals to draw inspiration from the martyrs who sacrificed their lives for their religion at a young age.
The Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Paul Semwogerere, has stressed the importance of encouraging young people to follow the teachings of the Bible, fostering a strong faith that guides their actions. By doing so, they can build a better tomorrow founded on reverence for God, instead of being drawn into destructive and violent activities. This was contained in a speech read for him by Archbishop Augustine Kasujja during the Uganda Matters High School Lubaga Open Day.
Water and nourish the faith of your children with a daily life of prayer, with a meditation and a reflection on the Word of God, not simply as an intellectual exercise, but to read and meditate the Word of God with the purpose of putting it in practice.
The chairman of the Board of Governors at Uganda Matters High School Lubaga, Brother Gerard Mwewe, expressed commitment to providing an environment that enables students to develop all-round skills and cultivate a strong faith.
Faith, no matter how many people discourage you, no matter how many people doubt you, laugh at you, warn you, think you a fool, don't listen.
The school's headmaster, Brother Leonard Nsubuga, explained that the theme chosen for the school day celebration was Have Faith Always, inspired by the Martyrs' unwavering dedication to humanity and Christ.
The good Lord to increase our faith, for with adequate faith we live a more purified life.
He highlighted the school's focus on equipping students with essential life skills, ensuring their ability to thrive and earn a living even without pursuing higher education. Notably, the school's girl football team currently holds the national championship title.
Stand firm and stay strong in your faith until the end of your lives. Never desert your faith. Keep your faith burning. Always remember the promises you have made to Jesus, your brother and Lord, and to Mary, your mother and protector.
Title.
The Uganda People's Defense Force is eliminating a number of combatants belonging to the Allied Democratic Forces. This follows the recent attack on Luihira Secondary School on the night of June 16, 2023, resulting in the tragic death of 37 students and the destruction of the school dormitory. Let's have a look.
Bino byebizimbe eby'essomero lya Lubiiriha Senior Secondary School bw'otuuka
We do apologize. We'll bring you that story later on in English. Now, education stakeholders have challenged parents and children in West Nile to embrace education if they love to see a better sub-region of West Nile in the future. They argue that government efforts have been in place which communities do not want to make use of. Members of parliament from many parts of Uganda, district leaders and communities in the West had convened at Inde Technical Grounds in Madiokolo district to attend a Thanksgiving ceremony organized by the woman member of parliament for Madiokolo, Joan Aniku Okia.
Bishop of Madi and West Nile Diocese, Right Reverend Charles Collins Andaku has tasked the people of West Nile to rise up in educating their children. He said a sub-region like West Nile can only develop if the populace is educated, adding that God and good politics are the key complements to education in achieving economically strong societies. The bishop was speaking during Thanksgiving ceremony of woman member of parliament for Madiokolo district, Joan Aniku Okia, at Inde Technical Grounds.
We shall get up. We shall stand to send our children to school. I want to thank the people of Madiokolo district for uniting and being together. We shall rise from poverty to bring the transformation we need in this region. The key is God. The key is education. The key is good politics. The key is unity.
The woman MP for Madiokolo district, Joan Aniku Okia, said she has been concerned on the ever-decreasing number of pupils completing primary 7 in Madiokolo, a reason she came up with initiatives to empower children, especially the girl child, to remain focused on education. She warned parents against mindset where they equate girls to animals as wealth.
I've been strong on an initiative to keep girls moving ahead in school. Children start in big numbers in primary 1, 2, 3. By the time they reach 5, 6, 7, first of all, there are very few girls and very few children. So what I did is I started a Goats to Girls project, where if you finish P7 and you get first grade or second grade, we were giving girls goats. And that program encouraged a lot of people. You know, people look at girls as animals in the sense that, hey, how many animals am I going to get when I sell her off into marriage? And I pray that I'm an inspiration to the girls out there who see what education can do.
The MP for Gomba West County, Robin Agureme Rakojo, who represented the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, during the Thanksgiving ceremony, appreciated the efforts put by the woman MP and the other stakeholders in promoting education and general development of the district. She appealed to parents and children to take advantage of the government-aided schools, especially those who cannot manage in private schools.
Education has been stressed. I studied in Uganda, I studied in a UPE's primary school. I wore a uniform like you children. I want to tell all of you children that you can manage. Your parents are paying school fees for you. Government is allowing you to study for free, not for nothing. When you give your child education, you have given them the key to life.
To enhance communication and sensitization among Madiokolo communities, the woman MP also established a radio so that a larger number of people can easily get access to information on government programs. Joseph Odama, UBC News, in Madiokolo.
The Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has reiterated the government's dedication to revitalizing traditional schools in West Nile and the country-wide, aiming to bolster the education sector, that is. Now, in a message delivered for her by State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, during the commemoration of St. Charles Lwanga College's 70th anniversary in Koboko District, Janet Museveni assured the people of West Nile of government's unwavering support to revamping traditional schools. The Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has emphasized that over 9 billion shillings has been allocated to construct additional seed schools, promoting the development of the education sector. The message was conveyed by State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, who also delivered 20 million shillings to the school on behalf of Janet Museveni. This was during the commemoration of St. Charles Lwanga College's 70th anniversary in Koboko district.
So the development of any country depends on the quality of its teachers. So we are going to put a lot of money, a lot of emphasis on training and retraining of teachers.
During the event, Minister Chrysostom Muyingo toured the school premises and urged administrators across the country to foster a sense of unity and brotherhood among students, discouraging strikes and any form of bullying within the schools.
In the learners, a spirit of brotherhood, a spirit of love, a spirit of care for each other. And the suspected culprits should be brought to book and a due process be followed in disciplining them. The head teacher and your team, you must come out strongly to eliminate any form of bullying in our schools.
The Education Secretary of Uganda Episcopal Conference commended the Comboni missionaries for their effort in promoting education and encouraged Christians to pray not only during times of difficulty, but also for the purpose and value of education in shaping a brighter future for students.
God appreciates faith, especially when we remember that one man who came to say thank you. God appreciates faith in him. We don't need to be like the other 9 lepers. There are many good things that keep on happening in our lives. But many times we only remember God when we're in trouble.
Member of Parliament for Koboko Municipality, Dr. Francis Ayume, encouraged local communities to support government programs aimed at development and to remain patriotic by collaborating with the government to maintain peace and stability in the region for social and economic growth.
So let us embrace unity, peace and tolerance. It hurts me as a leader when I hear that the science lab has been destroyed. These computers given by UCC, given by government, are very expensive. What enters your mind to destroy computers that are to be used by the next generation of people from Koboko?
I know your personal aid is here.
Kampala Capital City Authority has had its second cohort of enforcement leaders trained at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi. The passing out ceremony marked the culmination of a 2-week program that focused on financial literacy, patriotism, leadership, philosophy, political education, logical thinking, socio-economic transformation and performance management. This event was honored by the presence of Anderson Burora Herbert, the RCC of Rubaga, who witnessed the colorful ceremony celebrating the achievements of 88 officers from this cohort.
The State Minister for Kampala and the Metropolitan, Chofato Gabye Kabuye, has encouraged Kampala Capital City Authority enforcement officers to utilize their skills in fostering teamwork, mutual support, and the development of a smart city. Chofato Gabye was represented by the RCC Rubaga Division, Burora Herbert, at the graduation of 88 officers who have been undergoing training at the National Leadership Training Institute, Chankwanzi.
You could have come from different political affiliations in the past. That is in the past. Now you are at work. You are supposed to work in the interest of your employer, in the interest of Uganda, in the interest of the common good, for which you were chosen to come and work.
The Executive Director of KCCA, Dorothy Chisaka, emphasized that the training program aims at cultivating a disciplined workforce committed to enhancing the welfare of Kampala's residents.
In KCCA, we promote integrity,
zero tolerance to corruption, teamwork, innovativeness, excellence. All these things are needed for a firm and hardworking law enforcement team. So I trust that these are some of the things that have been emphasized. I trust that they've talked about respect for your leaders and respect for your subordinates and teamwork so that we have a cohesive team in the city.
The Deputy Director of NALI, Colonel Henry Serugo, praised the officers for their humility and dedication during the training period. He urged them to apply the acquired skills for personal growth and the betterment of Kampala.
Through the following modules that we expect have put them at a level of problem solvers. For us as the National Leadership Institute here, we consider introduction to political education, ideology, and thinking as a tool. I therefore would like to note that this makes participants this makes participants critical thinkers, and if deployed, the agency as Kampala Capital City Authority would never regret.
Expressing gratitude to KCCA management and NALI, the officers who underwent the training expressed their appreciation for being equipped with essential skills for the effective execution of their duties.
Engeri gy'okwarestingamu omuntu obulungi nga tokozesezza excessive force oba osobola okola omulimu gwo obulungi ne oba nga tokozesezza maanyi mangi.
This training initiative by KCCA seeks to enable its law enforcement officers to effectively fulfill their mandate to the realization of Kampala's smart city agenda. Justin Nakami in Chankwanzi.
Minister Victoria Businje Rusoke has launched a mobilization campaign aimed at reaching the intended beneficiaries of the parish development model in Kabarole district. The minister's initiative follows the revelation that only a limited number of people have benefited from the program, despite the availability of funds.
One of the main challenges identified by Minister Rusoke is the lack of awareness among the targeted beneficiaries regarding the PDM program. To address this issue, she has implemented a strategy to engage parents of primary school students and encourage their participation in PDM savings and credit cooperative organizations. During an interaction with parents at Mutuli Primary School, Minister Rusoke expressed her concerns about the bureaucratic obstacles that hinder access to PDM funds. She called upon parish chiefs to promote transparency by publicly disclosing the names of program beneficiaries and the corresponding amounts they have received.
I have instructed the parish chief and others in the places where I will go to display the lists of the members of the circle and the first beneficiaries. We have shortened the questionnaire to eliminate all the other questions. How many people in your clan, how many people in your family, who is your next of kin, and that. Let's get the basics that describe someone precisely so that when he gets the money, he's the real one.
As part of her visit, Minister Rusoke inaugurated a new classroom block worth 105 million shillings, which was constructed by the government through the school facility grant. She also provided a chain link wire to fence the school premises, emphasizing the importance of security and urging both students and parents to report any suspicious individuals to the authorities.
Of security, of easy. I told the parents, I told the children, to be the first spies. Be suspicious of anybody you don't know and quickly report. That government is doing its best to facilitate education. Ekaba classrooms, children, can you see those classrooms? Yes. They are new. Government gave you 105 million. The chairman with his team made sure there is no show the work. They monitored and the worker is here. So government, your NRM is your friend. Clear? Yes. Your job is to work very hard. Don't upset yourselves.
Richard Rabuhinga, the chairperson of Kabarole district, expressed gratitude to the NRM government for their support in constructing classrooms within local communities.
And this time around we constructed Mituli Primary School. The other one is Kanyawara Primary School. The other is Mashoro Primary School. And the last one is Bunyonyi Primary School.
The mobilization effort led by Minister Victoria Rusoke aims to empower communities and promote sustainable development through the effective implementation of the parish development model.
Residents and some school managers in Katikamu South constituency have lauded Kalume Foundation for sinking boreholes in their localities and schools, thereby solving the water scarcity challenge. The residents have voiced their commendation after a 6-month campaign during which the patron of Kalume Development Foundation, retired Haj Major Abubakar Kalume, has lobbied for funds that have made it possible for 53 boreholes to be sunk.
Residents and school managers rejoice as the Kalume Foundation takes action to alleviate the water scarcity issue. In a campaign spanning 6 months, retired Haj Major Abubakar Kalume, the patron of the foundation, successfully secured funds for the sinking of 53 boreholes across the constituency.
Because the water we used to fish at the wells was not good at all. But right now we are getting good water from the borehole, so that sanitation is so far good.
Before we had was at the other bore we had only one, because there we used to be congested because of one. So when they sank this one, we got two. So now some of them they are always there, some of us we are always here. That's the benefit.
I'm going to thank Kalume Foundation for this good work they have done to sack for us borehole. Because
Haj Abdunur Luanga and Sebufu Abdul Salam, headmasters of 2 benefiting schools, expressed their gratitude towards the Kalume Foundation. They revealed that even before seeking assistance, the foundation had already resolved their school lack of clean water.
Being our neighbor, being our fellow Muslim, being a servant of, being that he was born as a servant of people, he has helped us in so many ways.
We had a very small borehole, very old, and the number had increased a lot. So we needed another one, and perhaps another again. So we went and came back here and dug for us a borehole.
Local residents testified that water in their communities was expensive and impure prior to Haji Major Abubakar Kalume's intervention.
We have continued to support our people through Kalume Foundation. We have managed to lobby for many villages have benefited in our water project. We have managed to mobilize people in agriculture. We have managed to mobilize people, the NRM youth, and we believe that next time around, it may be a walkover this time around. And people have appreciated that they missed a very big chance of having myself representing them in Parliament.
Take 2. Haj Major Abubakar Kalume, having lost the 2021 elections, emphasized that his dedication to helping his constituents extends beyond politics. He urges voters to choose wisely in the future and disregard candidates who only appear during campaigns. Haj Major Abubakar Kalume vows to sink an additional 150 boreholes before the 2026 elections, further addressing the clean water scarcity in Katikam South constituency. The villages that have already benefited from the boreholes include Kabubu, Chiana, Chibisi, Gembe, Namakata, Nsero, Chiriambide, Mbajo, Bombo, Chibamba, Nachikonge, and Chikandaga, along with various schools. Clean piped water coverage in Luwero district stands at 69%, and the most water-stressed areas are Kalasa, Kasozi, and Makulubita in Katikam South constituency.
We believe that a right member of Parliament is a person who is going to his people to know their challenges so that can be able to represent them effectively. So I would advise them not to come to Katikam South constituency.
Miracle Center Cathedral lead Pastor Robert Kayanja has advised people to be cautious with the DNA tests that have raised concern among parents as it might lead to breakups in marriage. He was speaking at a 3-day-round gospel crusade at Lyantonde, Kabura.
Kayanja, accompanied by his wife Jessica Kayanja, arrived by a chartered plane that touched base at the area playground, where they were welcomed by various people from Lyantonde and elsewhere. Residents as well as school children stood staring at the plane without blinking eyes, not to miss any moment. The Kayanjas later visited the home of Pastor Ezra Mugisha, where they met other pastors whom they trained in meditation on the gospel. Preaching the gospel at the Purification Family Altar, built by Pastor Ezra Mugisha to convert the people of the area.
Tuli mu bumu kyetuvudde tusalawo tukunganye ente zaffe tuziteeke wamu tumanyi nti ekabula tutandisewo ekiralo ky'abalokole bwe tunaagenda ekiruhula nga tukola kyekimu bwe tunaagenda entebe nga tukola kyekimu omwaka gino agenda okwetooloola ng'obwavu tugenda tubusengula okuva mu balokole katukozese bye tulina tuwa abavubuka emirimu kubanga ekiralo kyetaaga akijjanjaba omusawo kyetaaga omulaalo kyetaaga avuga amatana agatwala kati egyo emirimu egiri esatu immediately.
The issue of self-development among pastors has been at the forefront of Pastor Kayanja's preaching, and he launched a cattle-raising campaign in the area which will spread to other parts of the country, and more than 50 cattle have been raised. Speaking in Lyantonde, Kabura, Pastor Kayanja advised the couples on the issue of DNA tests, which is causing a stir these days, as this could lead to family breakups. And he urged the people to work hard to get out of poverty.
Katonda ali mu bumu kuba Katonda ali omu era tugamba nti omusajja kyanabalekanga kitaawe ne mukazi we ne babeera omuntu omu. Ndi wakati mu kuwandiika ekitabo ekyo mmanyi kijja kuyamba bannayuganda tufuuka tutya omuntu omu, tukola tutya obumu, si kwegatta kubanga abantu bagezezzaako nnyo okukola obwegassi naye bulema.
Pastor Ezra Mugisha, who runs Purification Family Altar, where the gospel meeting was held, explained the theme of organizing such gatherings.
Ekisinga ennyo lwaki nayita muzeeyi Pastor Robert Kayanja from Bagam Lako Center is one. Nti muzeeyi tabuulira njiri ya kugenda mu ggulu yokka naye nga bwe tumanyi nti abantu tuli mu phases bbiri, waliwo eggulu ate waliwo n'ensi. Abuulira enjiri ey'okukulaakulana.
The Uganda People's Defense Force is eliminating a number of combatants belonging to the Allied Democratic Forces. This follows the recent attack on Luihira Secondary School on the night of June 16, 2023, resulting in the tragic death of 37 students and the destruction of a school dormitory. More details in this report.
The Commander Mountain Division and Operation Soldier, Major General D. Kolum, has disclosed that the joint forces of UPDF and FADC are pursuing the remaining ADF attackers in Mwalika Valley. In response to the assault, UPDF swiftly launched a robust operation, deploying forces along River Lubiria and Mwalika Valley. Pursuing the retreating ADF rebels, UPDF managed to eliminate more than 10 insurgents, including Commander Lubanga Ken, operating under the command of an Arab militant known as Abu Akasi.
The UPDF took it upon us because they thought that gone behind our lines, and we followed them. Now, up to now, we still continue following them. I think a lot has been done. We have killed a number of them. We have identified this group where they came from, and we have identified which commander was responsible for this. A number of them have been killed. We have gathered more than 10 guns out of that same team. We have killed more than 10 out of that same team. We have rescued almost 8 kids and women. And we also recovered one of the dead bodies of the girl who had been abducted from that same school. And the girl, we recovered the body because I think they killed her in the bushes after she had probably failed to walk.
These preemptive strikes were deemed necessary following the deadly ADF attack on Lubiria Senior Secondary School. The recent attack on Lubiria Senior Secondary School highlights the ongoing terror activities perpetrated by ADF not only within Uganda but also in Democratic Republic of Congo.
They hacked a number of students, something very unfortunate to talk about. We think it was very unfortunate, and these kids died innocently for no good reason.
While some ADF rebels managed to evade capture, the joint forces of UPDF and FADC are actively pursuing them as they scatter across Malika Valley and Virunga in North Kivu province. To safeguard against any potential infiltration, UPDF remains vigilant, conducting active defensive operations in eastern Congo and fortifying the border areas of Kasese, Bondibujo, and in Toroko district.
So we think a lot has happened. We have achieved a lot. We have killed so many, and we continue to do that. We follow them. Right here, I'm talking from one of the bases of my 1st Battalion, and Captain Obina, who's the commander of this force. And he's here in the jungle. We had to walk down from River Semliki up to here to come and meet him. Yet come and look at the soldiers. Look at how they move. See what their problems are. And we think the UPDF has done a lot. We think the biggest collection of the ADF today is somewhere in Mwalika Valley, which we are following day and night. And soon it should be some history to talk about. So far, so good.
To safeguard against any potential infiltration, UPDF remains vigilant, conducting active defensive operations in eastern Congo and fortifying the border areas of Kasese, Bondibujo, and in Toroko district. Haruna Mtesasira, UBC News.
Uganda waranji batusako manrame chikona tera tekobu seko season yakuna savu July kuma mal papa's hall usasule kwa MTN mobile money usasule gumu chitundu MTN usasule nega komitano iga stemu kagatano stamu enda munana hasha kwa MTN ufuni tiketi yokati wabula kumulyango usasule mitwale ebiri yepe mitwale 5 ate meza ya milioni 2 munana July Golden Hotel mkono mwenda July Nikan Resort Elweza 15 July France Africa Jinja Abiri July Maria Flema Saka Abiri Mwenda July Afro Club Eka Sangati ate yoyo noku yingi na mutualo wafujini Dramo Center Talent Africa Victoria University Suzu Property Consultants Pepsi Max Uganda Warranty
MTN. The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000 and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781 885 055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something, but the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for international certification and employment in various disciplines. 12,000 Ugandans have received global oil industry training and international certification in welding, heavy goods vehicle driving, and scaffolding, among others. 6 public and private institutions have received international accreditation and certification from industry bodies such as City and Guilds, ECITB, Opito, AWS, and NEBOSH. 250 government officers from various ministries and agencies have trained in oil and gas-related disciplines such as petroleum engineering, geosciences, law and economics. 71,300 Ugandans are currently employed in the sector. The National Oil and Gas Talent Register provides visibility to Ugandans with skills and competencies for possible employment in the oil and gas sector. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Dear Airtel customer, we know that there are days when unexpected stays in hospital stand in the way of your family's welfare. That is why Hospital Center is here to give you up to 100,000 shillings every night you spend in hospital. Hospital Center also offers up to 4 million in funeral benefit. Dial star 185 star 7 star 6 hash to purchase Hospital Center on Airtel Money for as little as 1,000, 3,000 or 5,000 shillings a month. Your cover for the first 1 month is free. Hospital Center is underwritten by Prudential and powered by Turaco. Prudential and Turaco are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda. Airtel Money is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you into the world of business. Now, MTN Uganda, in partnership with Uganda Breweries Limited, have launched a comprehensive digital suite to facilitate fast-moving consumer goods in the supply and stocking ecosystem. The digital solution intends to eliminate cash transactions and its associated risks. More details in this report. The MTN Uganda partnership with Uganda Breweries Limited Digital Suite initiative is projected to enhance efficiency, security in the chain of products distribution and payment ecosystem.
What we are seeking to do is how do we help you to digitize that end-to-end chain, because what does that do for you? First of all, it reduces the cost of you moving money, right? It reduces increases security. We have had many incidents of people who are working for companies being attacked on the road by unscrupulous people looking to see if they can take money from them because they've probably sold their stock in the market and therefore they want to steal the cash from them. So this, when you now begin trading in cashless, it therefore means it eliminates completely that risk, which is secure for your employees and also secure for your business, but also takes away the cost of that you have to incur in terms of moving cash from your organization to the bank.
The partnership of MTN Uganda and Uganda Breweries Limited intends to facilitate fast-moving consumer goods in a cashless business environment.
Cashless transactions are the future. It is a way has been demonstrated as a way for Africa to leapfrog and get into a cashless economy. It will increase the velocity of cash within the system, and for us, it unlocks for us so much more. It unlocks for us faster transactions, safer transactions. We can then plug in other services, such as financing, for not just our distributors, but the whole chain, all the way down to the retailer.
In the arrangement, distributors' trust will be enhanced to attract loan facilities from MTN Mobile Money to beef up stocking capital.
You know, we have more cash, we have more center, we have loan products, which then improve our assessment of this farmer, this consumer, this retailer who uses Momo to receive payments. Because if payments are being done in cash, we don't have information about it, so we tend not to trust the person who is using cash. But when you use mobile money, then even us, where we sit, we tend to trust you more.
So efficiency in terms of how we transact, efficiency in terms of how we buy and sell goods, whether you are a distributor, whether you are an outlet, it will become to be cut into almost half. So you have to take your money currently to the bank for it to reflect to the brewery for you to be able to sell. But on digital, we'll be able to see that money on the digital platform and we'll be able to transact with you because we can be able to see money. So money movement from point A to point D will become faster and almost half of what it is currently.
The designed digital suite will revolutionize product distribution chain to enhance real-time sales tracking while minimizing risks of carrying bulk cash.
Richard.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now,
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1# and select call all networks.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Road traffic crashes is one of the leading causes of death among young people aged 5 and 29 years. In 2022, Uganda registered 21,473 crashes, out of which 4,534 people died and 15,227 seriously injured. 22 people die every 100 crashes, and on average, we lose 12 people daily. Legacy Road Safety Initiative, in partnership with KCCA, Ministry of Works and Transport, Ministry of Health, Uganda Police Force, Red Cross, Rosaku, Boda Boda Industry Uganda, have organized the second Road Safety Marathon for the crash victims to help create awareness, build cohesion among stakeholders, train first responders at black spots, and support a health facility. The marathon will take place on the 23rd of July 2023, starting at 7 a.m. from Nakasero Primary School grounds. Book your kits at 25,000 from Legacy Road Safety Initiative offices located at Old Kampala Chicken House, 2nd floor, room 18, or 8th Street, Safeway, Rightway offices, Total Energies, Ovino Mall, Boda Boda Industry Uganda, or visit www.lrs-initiative.org to register. Call 0752 605 479 or 0776 598 817 or 0414 698 675. Proudly powered by Daxi Driving School and Wava Water. Run to save a limb.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say.
Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles?
So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
Welcome back, and it's now time for sports. The mayor of Nakawa Division, Paul Mugambe, has delivered an inspiring message to the talented individuals, urging them not to overlook their abilities, especially in a time of high unemployment. He encouraged them to embrace those who excel in their fields, as their success can contribute to the development of their own talent. Mayor Mugambe spoke at a congratulatory ceremony held in Luzira, Nakawa Division, to honor the tournament's two winners. The Mayor Nakawa Division, Paul Mugambe, has urged the youth not to overlook their abilities, especially in a time of high unemployment. This was at a ceremony to congratulate two winners of the area tournament.
I would like to urge the youth who are engaged in football not play it for fun, not play for leisure, not play it for just. Football is a very serious business. So in this era where jobs are scarce, in this era where even the payment is low, football is one of the avenues we have to look up to.
The chairman of LC2, Nalongo Monica Wanyama, presented jerseys to the victorious youth and emphasized the importance of avoiding drugs and focusing on their future aspirations.
Abana babavuka mbakubiriza babere focused. Alime kubera nga bakozesa ebyagalagala biba westinga nga mu bulamu bwabwe n'oba nga buli weside so nga ate mazima ddala baali badde bavuka abatugasa ffe nga community ne bagasa gye bava ne bagasa n'eggwanga as a whole.
Thought one of the ways in which we could bring them together was to, hold this tournament, and we use that to talk to them, to guide them, to bring them in the right path.
Captains from Chisenyi 2 and Stage 6 teams expressed their gratitude to Luzira authorities for supporting and promoting their talents, as well as generously donating jerseys, enabling them to compete without relying on their own clothes.
We want to thank our LC2 chairperson, Nalongo Monica Wanyama. We've had about 28 pledges, but among the 28 pledges, she's the first actually to fulfill.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity and chance that our Honorable has given us this new jersey.
The Luzira Youth Council Rotaract Club, Luzira, and the Achievers Group extended their heartfelt appreciation to Nalongo Monica Wanyama for her dedication to empowering the youth in Luzira. They commended her for both her promises and her actions.
Don't look at football only as a source of income. So I advise you that once you're engaging football, when you're playing football, try as much as you can to also have some other activities that you involve yourself in and you make positive changes in your lives.
And that brings us to the end of our 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Thank you for joining us. However, do join us later on at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold Mugalu Muhammad in Sign Language.
The family of Okirol Francis Nicholas of Katakwi District, Magoro Sub-County, with deep sorrow announced the untimely death of their daughter, Amuge Victoria Joyce, which occurred on 15th of July 2023 at Kirudu Hospital in Kampala. The late was a TV presenter of the Education Forum on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Burial will take place at her ancestral home in Kia Village, Omasia Parish, Katakwi District, on Tuesday the 18th July 2023. May her soul rest in eternal peace.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Youth of Purpose.
Hello, welcome to Youth of Purpose, a show that is here to inspire you and give you a platform, majorly as young people, to be able to talk about issues that concern us as Ugandans, as young Ugandans, and put a brick to Uganda's development. Today on the show, we are going to be discussing basically how, as young people, we can be able to contribute to our country's security, our regional security, and also our continent's security. My name is Ivan Tumukunde. Welcome to the show. And today, I have Manzi, I have Howard, and they are going to be helping us to delve in this discussion and make sure that we can be able to touch here and there to help you understand how, as a young person, as a youth, you can be able to play a role. The same way we used to see students' movements, youth movements in the early 60s, in the early 70s, being able to play a role in what happens in their countries and making sure that they take on the mantle to hold their leaders accountable, but also the continent to bring it together and make sure they serve the purpose of the continent and make sure that we have peace and security. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's always an absolute pleasure.
Say hello to the viewers.
Hello, viewers of UBC.
and all the viewers of the Fit for Purpose program. Thank you for being with us. My name is Mujisha Emanzi, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Once again, I would wish to say I'm grateful to be here to discuss matters of national and regional importance.
Thank you so much. So basically, starting with you, Emanzi, take us through the aspects of peace and security in the local, regional, and continent perspective.
Well, for starters, when we talk about the aspect of peace and security, we are not necessarily only talking about the absence of war, but we are talking about peace in its entirety, starting from my security, moving where I'm going, anybody's not going to touch me, cyber security, ensuring that nobody's going to go on my account and siphon money from there, things like digital security, biosecurity, because now we have been lately attacked by things we don't understand, like the COVID-19, which is probably assumed to be another biosafety security issue. So to me, when we talk about the aspect of security, it's very pertinent to me as a youth, because I know that for every society to evolve at its foundational level, it has to be the foundation based on peace and security, so that people can work, young people can go and study, farmers can go and do their business, and all this. So to start with Uganda, apparently, if you look at the East African region, Uganda is one of those countries that suffered with war, or what we could call political instabilities actually, from the 1960s to the mid-2000s, when we had insurgency after the other, a coup after coup, and then we had rebels, and that of course hindered the pace upon which Uganda could have been progressing. Because if you compare our development level by 1960 compared to other countries like say Singapore, you can see that we were at the same pace then, but because of these instabilities, we were set back. And every time you're set back, it takes much more effort for you to bounce back and develop your country. So with Uganda, we see that even when we were having those various instabilities in the 1960s, going forward, there is a certain group, let me call it a demographic dividend, of young people who stood and said, we've had enough. We can actually change our country, but we have to be intentional. So these young people mobilized themselves, and among them, if my memory serves me right, we had the then young Elia Kategayas, the General Yoweri Musevenis, the Dandi Salis, the Amanya Mushegas, the Chirunda Chivei Dinda, the Professor Nabuderes now then of the time. They were young people in their early 20s. So they said, no, we cannot sustain this. They sat down, devised means upon which they wanted the future of their country to be hinged upon. And we can see these people after some time, they engaged or contributed in guerrilla struggles in Mozambique, got trainings, and came back, ushered in the protracted People's War. And after the 1986, we had what we call relative peace. Yes, of course, other insurgencies happened, but they've been neutralized. But now, that is one aspect, one side of the coin. The other flip side of the coin is, after that generation, like Ivan mentioned initially, young youth movements from the universities, from the communities, they galvanized themselves and spoke with one voice. Now, the youth of my day, I don't know what language we are speaking yet, because we are very divided on the basis of ideology, on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of political orientation. So, and I think this is where we have to interrogate this and see where do we go from here.
Thank you so much, Howard.
Pleasure.
What's your perspective in as far as peace and security is concerned, both on local and continental level?
Just like my comrade has highlighted, we also need to look at peace in a broader perspective. We also need to look at aspects like food security, cyber security, education systems, participation, protection of the young people in the peace processes. Because ideally speaking, there is there is no way how you could as well talk about peace without bringing young people and women on a drawing board. And in most cases, whenever peace building processes are trying to take shape, they normally forget the young people and women in the due processes. And yet, at the end of the day, the young people are always at the center of the peace. I mean, conflict, yes, in conflict resolution processes. So I have a feeling in most cases, I think it's key. It's key in most cases if young people are brought on a drawing board and capacitated in terms of some of these international treaties like the UN Security Council resolution processes, something of that kind. Thank you.
So it brings about the issue of young people being engaged and brought on the table. And something comes into my head that basically, how much are the young people involved in peace and security making processes? How are young people involved? Because we are looking at 78% of a population. That means if we are going to have any kind of security, there is no way this percentage is not going to be involved.
Yes.
Either they will be part of the cause, or else they will be the other side, so much of the other side, of the victims.
Yes.
And I want us to start from the local aspect. For example, if we look at almost the 20 years that we talked about, from 86, it's almost time lost, not just because of the war, but you cannot be able to start up a business anywhere. And basically looking at, for example, our brothers and sisters from the north, where even after 86 we had the rebel. Yeah, it really takes away that liberty that you can be able to be creative as a young person. You can be able to be creative as a Ugandan, to have a thought of putting up something permanent, building up a business. It's almost impossible. So it doesn't matter, as young people will be affected in all the ways. And I asked, how are we involved as young people in these peacemaking processes? The fact that we are always affected by the absence of peace.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. And it actually reminds me of a quote by a certain Russian general during the First World War who made a statement. His name was Petrichenko Vladimirovich. He said that it is the old men who declare war, and it is the young people that go and fight and most likely die. So if I'm trying to correlate the question vis-a-vis that quote, it is very saddening to notice that when the order to go to war or for war usually comes from the elite class, the politicians, but it is the young officers who go to fight. And like you said, you can either go as a fighter or as a victim. Now I want to hinge my analysis on the victim part. Every time there is a war in a country, community or society, the biggest casualties are youth, children and women. Why? Because they're the most incapacitated physically. How many kilometers can a woman run? Sure, carrying a baby and food. You see these things when they're fleeing from, say, war-stricken countries like the DRC, South Sudan, Secondly, these children that are running around, they are being denied the opportunity to education, to life, to harmonious living, to grow up in a stable family with the fathers and mothers. But to go back to your question, how are the young people engaged in the processes? Let us look at the African Union Agenda 2063. And I think it is Goal 2, which talks about comprehensive peace and silencing the guns in Africa. Actually, that was the theme of the African Union in 2019, silencing the guns. Why? Because until the guns are silenced, we cannot have a firm foundation upon which to build our economies and also foster other aspects like democracy, participation, human rights, among others. My question is, when they were formulating the African Union Agenda 2063, and one of the goal number 2 was to silence the guns and have a harmonious continent and peaceful. What were the deliberate actions that were taken by the African Union to engage the young people, not as beneficiaries, but as participants in the process? I want to tell you, my brother, young people were only consulted on a high level meeting status only. Young people in my village do actually not know that there is a document called the African Union Agenda 2063, which is the blueprint upon which Africa hinges its development, infrastructure development, peace and security, democracy, energy development, sustainable development, among others, for the next 50 years until 2060. But young people were minimally engaged, and I think this is where the problem comes from, for starters. After African Union, let's come back to the region. The East African community has yet to have a formal structure where they engage young people, especially in aspects of peace and security. For example, we have the East African Youth Network. You know, it has an affiliation with the East African Secretariat in Arusha, where they have conversations with the Secretary General, which is structured annually and sometimes quarterly. But also, personally, I'm not convinced or satisfied with the amount of engagement, because these engagements, comrade, they involve things like resources. Many a time, our countries do not put aside budgets for that. So we find ourselves waiting for donors, right? But until when are we going to wait for donors to come and help us do our own things that fight for the interest of the African child? I think it is high time that we engage young people meaningfully, more strategically, and purposefully in these processes from the grassroots.
Thank you so much, Manzi. We're going to go in for a short break. When we're back, I'm going to be speaking to my colleague here to also be able to bring us up to speed in as far as how young people are getting involved in helping to stabilize Africa. We're having a lot of wars right now in Africa. Very many countries from North Africa to West Africa. Where do we see the young people playing a role in making sure that Africa is stable? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Youth of Purpose, a show that is here for you, the young people, to be able to contribute to your country's development. And today, we are talking peace and security. How, as young people, we can be able to contribute in making sure that we have peace and stability in our country, Uganda, but also in our region, East Africa, and also as a continent, Africa. Coming to you, comrade, he talks about the fact that all these instabilities do affect us as young people. And someone might say, okay, it's the young people that are so much, recruited into the army, because priority is given to those young people who are still energetic, those who have at least attained some average education. So someone might say, okay, the people that are in the army, basically, are the young people. And as you said, they will be the ones fighting, but they are fighting on whose orders?
Thank you.
So I want us to, for example, look at the issue that is happening right now in Sudan. I want to say old generals, I don't know, who have completely lost control, who have their personal issues, personal disagreements, but they completely destroy the future of a nation. They are destroying infrastructure, the factories, bombing almost everything they come across, just because of their personal interests. But who are they using? It's the young people in the army. We go to Congo. The wars that are happening, who are fighting?
It's the young people.
It's the young people being commanded by the old minority, who in the next 50 years might not be here. And therefore the cost will definitely come back to us. If we are to go back and build Sudan the way it was, it will take us centuries. The same way, if, for example, we'll be having the opportunity to work out Congo, it will take us another 100 years. So it's basically us, the young people, that will have to pay the cost. And my question is, The movements you're talking about, the East African whatsoever, where are they? You're talking about the young people here in Uganda going to Mozambique to be trained. Which country do we have right now speaking? A group of young people, a movement of young people, speaking against what is happening in Sudan, what is happening in South Sudan. Where are the young people? Even the ones that we have in parliament, where are they? The African Union you're talking about, the youth wing, where is it? I haven't heard anywhere where they are coming out to speak against what is happening. What can we do as the young people to make sure that there is peace in our countries? And looking at those examples that I've given.
For beginners, I would wish to point on two particular concerns. It comes to one, that is programming and participation. In most cases, young people are normally brought on a drawing board as beneficiaries, but they are not brought on a drawing board during the programming. I could equally say programming of those words in courts. Like how my comrade Mugisha had somehow highlighted in some of those dynamics of the peace processes, the young people participating and the old people maybe issuing orders. In most cases, the young people are not, it first comes to education. When they are programming, they normally say, young people are the problem. Young people are not, they have not gone to school. Young people don't know anything. But I think, like you were saying, it's high time we could use young people as a tool of better organization.
First of all, we already have young people, because the complaint previously was that young people are not given the opportunity. We are now there, we are in parliament. Even at the East Africa, the regional level, we have the youth wing there. Even at African Union, we don't have them. Why are they not speaking out?
The reason why I'm saying participation and programming, one, we could be having representatives in the National Youth Parliament, in the National Parliament, at the regional parliament, be it the Pan-African Parliament, but the question is, are they participating meaningfully? Or it's just mere participation? Because when you're talking about meaningful participation, you have to talk about programming first. When most of these programs are being brought or they're about to come into the due process, are they brought on a drawing process during the programming processes, or they are simply brought on a drawing board as beneficiaries to participate, to get their views? That is equally a big problem, because we equally need to have a look at, we equally need to know the difference between programming and participation. Because then too, when we are talking about programming and participation, we equally need to look at things like, capacity building. Are the young people well empowered enough to participate in some of those platforms? Or it is simply a question of bringing someone's son on a drawing board and say, this person can fulfill this position, and they equally need to be empowered. We have the National Youth Councils on a drawing board. We have youth civil society organizations, but the question is, are some of those platforms well empowered to participate in those programs? Because at times there is a question of occupying the position and being well empowered enough to participate meaningfully. Because young people cannot participate meaningfully if they are not empowered. So it's a question of empowerment. We equally need to look at the question of empowerment. And in most cases, that is why I think it's a question of organization. I think that is a debate of another day, because we equally need to look at the organization and education. Because young people need to be organized first and then educated. Because as we talk about the East African Youth Network, the National Youth Councils, the AU Youth Envoy.
Who organized the Kategayas? They organized themselves.
And they respond to
and
needs.
For you are there saying they have to organize us, they have to educate us, they have to empower us. For what? Because if for example in Sudan, the people who have started the war, they are the ones you expect to come and empower you, then you're totally misplaced. Honestly.
Maybe to interject on that, that's a very critical question of who should organize you. For me, I think this question of who should organize us should not come from externally. Our needs as a demographic dividend, as a generation,